Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the meeting of the Metro Outer DAP. I declare the meeting open at exactly 9:30 a.m. I acknowledge we're hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We acknowledge the Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia and pay respect to elders past and present and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters and community. This meeting will be run in accordance with the DAP Standing Orders 2024 under the DAP Regulations 2011. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with 42A of the DAP Regulations. Panel members may refer to technical devices throughout the meeting to assist them in considering the information before them. I'll take the opportunity now to introduce the DAP members present today. Online from the City of Cockburn, we have Councillor Tom Weidenbach and Councillor Taryn Dewan. Welcome to you both. In the meeting room today, we have myself. My name is Dale Page. I'm the presiding member of this meeting today. And to my left, I have Francesca Lafonte, the deputy presiding member, and Luigi D'Alessandro, our specialist member for today. Apologies, we have nil today. Members on leave of absence, also nil. Noting of minutes, please note that minutes of all previous meetings are available on the DAP website. We'll move now to Part B of the agenda, dealing with the City of Cockburn. Item 1, declaration of due consideration. Panel members need to have considered all the documentation contained within Part B of the agenda and the related information that was uploaded to the DAP website. Could I please confirm by a show of hands that this is the case? Thank you, everyone. Item 2, disclosures of interest. No declarations have been received to this point. Do members have any interests they'd like to declare? And whilst I'm asking that question, could I check with our local government members whether this item has been before you at a council briefing or a council meeting?
No, I don't have anything to declare, and I don't believe this has come before council.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Any other members like to declare anything?
No.
No, great. All right, then we'll move on then to item 3, which is the Form 1 DAP application for Lot 1, 14 Lancaster Street, Spearwood. The application is for 4 group dwellings, DAP number 24/02805. We have received a written submission from Malcolm Mackay on this item. Malcolm is not present today, but we do have Neri Widi Wulandari and James, I believe, is accompanying her online from Tuscan. If there are any questions that we want to ask on behalf of the applicant team. Do any panel members have questions they would like to ask the applicant team? Yes, Councillor Dewan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a quick question regarding the car parking. I believe the dwellings are all sort of having a car park with enough turning radius. My question is, if, let's say, in all the dwellings, you have 2 guests that arrive on the same day at the same time, I do hope that the street parking is enough. And I do hope that the road on the northern side, which is the Lancaster Street, I believe, should be able to take care of the street parking.
Nuri, are you able to answer that question, or is that a question I should hold for the city officers? Nuri, can you hear us? You're on mute.
Yeah, there should be enough parking. There will be enough parking within the street parkings, and that will cater for, you know, extra guests that will arrive in the development.
Okay, I think city officers, I'm just going to place you on notice that when we hand over to you, I'd like a response from you on Councillor Dewan's question as well. We won't go there at the minute. When we get to the bit that deals with your contribution, we'll get you to respond to that. So if you could just make a note of that, that would be wonderful. Councillor Dewan, do you have any other questions of the applicant?
No, Madam Chair, I'm good. Thank you.
Councillor Weidenbach, anything from you?
No, nothing from me actually.
Any other panel members?
Nothing from me.
No.
Okay, then I might move then to the local government officers. I believe we have Riley Brown, Lucia Dunstan and Brian Norris with us from the City of Cockburn. Is that correct? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, right.
That's all good. Before I hand over to see if there are any other questions we'd like to ask you, because I have a couple, can you just respond to the question that Councillor Dewan posed about the parking?
Hi, good morning. It's my understanding that the car parking is compliant with the codes, and I believe because of the four-group dwelling, it also didn't require any visitor parking as well.
Is that okay, Councillor Dewan?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Councillor Dewan and Councillor Weidenbach, do you have any questions for the city officers?
No, not at this stage.
Not from me as well.
Okay. Any other panel members? Francesca?
To city officers, I have a question and it relates to condition 4. I note that condition 4 is about construction timeframes. Could you just talk us through that a little bit? And I'm interested, my question is specifically, is that a condition or an advice note? My understanding is that those provisions are set in different legislation. So I suppose my question is, why is it a condition and should it be an advice note?
Yeah, so it's from the city's point of view, this is more so of a standard condition, but we're happy to have it as an advice note.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. I have a couple, if you don't mind. Condition 12 requires submission of a landscaping plan prior to submission of a building application, but it doesn't state anywhere in the conditions that the landscaping actually needs to be installed in accordance with that plan and maintained in perpetuity to your satisfaction. So how would you ensure that the landscaping actually gets planted as suggested on the plans and that the courtyards don't just get paved and become hot, barren spaces? And as a follow-up, how would you ensure that the landscaping, which is really needed to soften a development like this, actually stays in place? You're on mute.
Sorry, presiding member, if you could just give us 2 seconds to just discuss and then we'll come back if that's okay.
Sure.
So the city is happy to essentially add a condition to essentially make sure that that landscaping plan is to perpetuity to the city, but also I do relate back to condition 2 as well, where development should be in accordance with the approved plans, which also does take into account condition 12, which does outline the detailed landscaping plan as well.
Thank you. My second question is condition 17 relating to developer contributions. Is that a standard condition or would it help to be a little bit more specific, either in the condition itself or in an explanatory advice note?
Thank you, presiding member. This condition is a standard condition that we put on pretty much all DAs that would trigger developer contribution. The reason why we're slightly hesitant to specify a certain developer contribution plan or an amount or provide advice to that effect is because our developer contribution plans are subject to regular review. So depending on when the applicants submit their building permit, they may submit this in 4 years' time. It's very likely that the developer contribution plan will be amended and the rates adjusted. So we're just a bit hesitant to provide advice on an amount.
Yeah.
Understood. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions from panel members for the city officers?
Oh.
Councillor Weidenbach.
Yeah, just on the landscaping query from before, and it's more so to the panel than the city officers, but is it worth copying the last sentence in condition 14 where it states the waste management plan shall be implemented by the owners occupiers for the duration of the development, and amend that to refer to the landscape plan and attach it into condition 12, just to remove any ambiguity?
Yes, thank you. I think that might be worth considering. Thank you, Councillor Weidenbach. Any other questions of the city officers?
No, thank
No?
you.
All right, let's then move to the report itself. Can I seek a mover and a seconder for the recommendation in the responsible authority report before you? Thank you. Moved, Councillor Weidenbach, seconded, Councillor Dewan. Over to you, Councillor Weidenbach. Would you like to speak to the item?
Yeah, it looks like a lovely, nice, sustainable, sensible development. I do note that there was originally a design for 10 apartments, which is probably a little bit too much, and this development is much more in keeping with the suburb in the area. I think it leads to some good outcomes and high increase in density of housing in the area. So based on that, I think we should support it.
Thank you. Councillor Dewan, seconder, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Just that we have obviously housing shortages in the entire state. So utilizing the land for more dwellings is a positive step, definitely. And we need to be, I think, going forward for other developments, we need to be more creative and proactive, just like for this one. So I really support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Would any other member like to speak for or against the motion?
I will speak for the motion. I'd like to make the following comments: that I am supportive of the proposal as submitted. From my perspective, the proposal is consistent with the planning framework, the zoning and the zone objectives, and I'm satisfied that the design and scale of the development is appropriate, reflecting the topography and the locational context. And I'm supportive of some of the minor variations that are referenced in the report, noting that there's been consideration against the local planning policy, LPP 1.2, and the context of the analysis that's been provided. I do, however, wish to make one amendment, and that is Amendment 1, if I may, and it's to Condition 4, that Condition 4 be moved to an advice note. And my reasoning is that it is covered by specific other specific legislation. If I have a seconder for that.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to second that? Councillor Weidenbach. Thank
Yep.
you. Does anyone else wish to speak to that amendment? No? Can I then see by a show of hands all those in favour of that amendment? Carried unanimously. Is there anything else?
No, that was it. Nothing.
Okay. I'd just like to speak in support of the development. It's compliant and consistent with the planning framework. However, I probably do think it is a bit of a missed opportunity not to have some multiple dwellings on it, but it is compliant and it's a good solution for the site. So I'm supportive.
Thank you. I too am happy to support the proposal. Permitted use under the scheme. Despite being challenged by some topographical constraints, the proposal still manages to align quite closely with the deemed to comply provisions of the codes, and that's not all that common nowadays. So well done on making that so to the applicants. I would like to see some wording added to condition 12, so I propose to move a second amendment. I would like to add some wording to condition 12 to state that landscaping needs to be installed in line with the approved landscaping plan and therefore thereafter maintained in perpetuity to the satisfaction of this city. Do I have a seconder for that amendment? Thank you, Councillor Dewan. Is there any member that would like to speak for or against that amendment?
I do have a question on the wording.
Over to you, Councillor.
Can the council require that landscaping be maintained in perpetuity from a legal perspective?
Can the city officers, do you wish to respond to that?
Thanks, Councillor Weidenbach. The answer is yes. So if there is a condition on the development approval as it relates to the installation of landscaping and the maintenance. It is something that can be enforced from a compliance perspective, and certainly in the past where we have maybe, not in a grouped dwelling arrangement, but if there is a commercial or an industrial development where the landscaping is quite prominent, the city has taken action in the past to enforce maintenance of landscaping. The question inevitably is the practicality and resourcing implications of that. So would it be practical for a city compliance officer to go into someone's backyard and make sure that they've planted a tree and that they're maintaining that? Maybe, maybe not. From a compliance perspective, we tend to act on complaints. So, if a neighbour were to complain that the landscaping is overgrown and not consistent with the plans, then we can certainly investigate it. But to answer your question, it is certainly enforceable if it is a DA condition.
Thank you. And Councillor Weidenbach, just in response to your question, I might clarify my intent behind this. It's certainly not my intent that the city, having come from a local government background and being responsible for compliance, it's not my intent that the city proactively monitors a development such as this one for minor variations in landscaping. It's probably more if the landscaping is not maintained, particularly out the front, and it becomes really scruffy. At least the city has the ability under this condition to say to the owners, you really have to maintain this landscaping. And I'm particularly concerned that often we get landscaping plans that show trees in these little courtyards, and that's wonderful because that's what we want with our shrinking canopy in WA. But often when the things are built, it's much easier to just pave over the whole thing than to plant the trees and maintain them. So I think as long as we have something in here that allows the city, and the city has the discretion to take action or not, but allows the city to have the ability to manage it if complaints are made or if they have concerns about it in the future.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I just wanted to double check that we could actually enforce that if required, and there's nothing more that I hate than seeing the was lovely verge turn into just pure astroturf or paving within 6 months of a new person moving in. So yeah, it's a great little addition. Thank you.
Great. Can I ask then, unless there are any other comments anyone wishes to make, could I, by a show of hands, all those in favour of this amendment? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Those two amendments now form part of the primary motion. Councillor Weidenbach, as mover of the primary motion, would you like to close?
Sure, I think, yeah, we've had two great little amendments, and development as it sits should proceed. So I think that's all I need to say.
Great. Thank you very much. Could I then put the recommendation in the RA with the two amendments as carried to the vote by a show of hands? All those in favour? Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Moving then on to item 4, Form 2 DAP applications. We have none on the agenda today. Item 5, Section 31 SAT reconsiderations, also none today. Part C, other business. Item 1, SAT applications and Supreme Court appeals. SAT applications for the DAP are all listed on the DAP website. It is worth noting that a SAT matter relating to a mixed-use commercial development at Lot 9501 Gabler Road, Hammond, has been finalised and the details are on the website. Item 2 is meeting closure. Thank you everyone for your attendance today, and we close the meeting at 9:49 a.m. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.